I'm excited to welcome on one of the top prospects in 2023 and Isaiah West. What's happening, my guy?
Uh,
Not much, man. Well, your freshman season is now in the books, and you have a lot of offers starting to come in. People know who you are now. But take us through your freshman year. What was it like?
it was a lot better than I expected. Made Max Prep All American team
Mhm.
and picked up a few offers late in the year. It was a pretty good year.
You mentioned something that's a pretty big accomplishment, making the Max Preps All-American freshman team. What did that mean to you, and how did you find out about it?
I found out about it through my coach, but it actually meant that I was actually getting looked at by outside of my state. It's a lot better.
And you're part of a 2023 class that is elite. There's a lot of talent, but maybe the biggest attraction that it is a new era in terms of social media. I mean, two guys with a million followers. No one's ever played high school basketball with a million before. What's it like just having so much high profile and just a social media era in your class?
It's kind of a lot better, but a lot of times people get caught up in it.
And how have you kind of adjusted? Because you have had a high profile, you've had a lot of breakout times. How have you adjusted to kind of starting to get some of the fame, kind of getting some social media presence?
It's not been too hard of an adjustment. It's just a lot more people know who you are and what you do.
No doubt. And so let's talk about some of your offers. You have TSU, HBCU school. What do you like about them?
What I like about TSU is that they're a really fan environment, so it's real fun to be around them.
And there's a lot of flash we know there's a lot of attention going towards an HBCUs. Is that something that you think you might seriously consider when it does come time?
Right now, I really do consider it.
Mm. And maybe go back about 6 months ago or a year ago, would you say because of all this stuff happening right now and because a guy like McCurr went to one, does that make it a more realistic opportunity and option now with all this stuff happening?
Yeah, I've had a lot of more people say it's more realistic now that since he made the move, so it has a lot of buzz around it.
And we know that 2020 is pretty much done. 2021 might be the first class to start doing HBCU schools. Do you see a lot of guys start possibly going to HBCU schools now?
I can, but more towards like they probably won't. You probably won't see them trying to go now, but like I'd say a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. So take us through that TSU offer. How did you learn about it and just what happened?
when they offered, the coach had been talking to me for a while. Did he sent a text through my coach and wanted me to come out to tour the school, and then he gave me my first official offer.
That's big time. What was kind of going through your mind? What was it like knowing that your school is going to be paid for now?
It was actually exciting. It was like my first one. My coach told me there'll be a lot more coming, so kind of hype about it.
And you have started to have a lot more. Probably the biggest one you have at the moment is Wake Forest. What do you like about them?
Well, I like the way their coach spoke to me. He was like really set in on recruiting me and what I could do to help their program.
And we know there's a new coaching staff with Coach Forbes in there. What do you like about him and just the new coaching staff there?
Well, I like the coaching staff a lot. It's just
Mhm.
in the future, I hope to hope they build a better relationship with me.
Gotcha. And you have a couple more offers. Take us through what you feel about the Kennesaw State one and obviously Tennessee Tech School.
Kennesaw State was more of a surprise but I like the way their coach, I like the way their assistant talked to me on the phone. Then Ten- Tennessee Tech's their assistant was probably the most I would say most family type environment, and he was straight up with me everything about the program and that he's new there.
Absolutely. And so out of schools that have yet to give you the offer, but you've heard about have shown you some interest, who are some of those schools?
Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, and there's also been Michigan
Mhm.
and I think that's about it.
What do you like about those schools? I mean, we can start off with Ole Miss, pretty big school. They've been landing some top players in the past couple classes. What do you like about them?
Well, I haven't really spoke to them. They've been texting. They've been talking to me through my coach. He said they he's bought into like them and how the way they work around being at a D1 school.
Absolutely. And when you look at a school, what are you looking for? What's some of the things that you want a college to have that will attract you to one?
It's more of like I was like I just want to fit in with a coach's play style and kind of be kind of be more like involved with my teammates more.
And as I mentioned earlier, I mean, something like Ole Miss has landed a five-star guy in back-to-back classes, and you're going to start getting a lot of the Power Five schools. If you see if you see a program land a couple of big-time players in the classes before you, does that make it a little more appealing?
Yeah, definitely. So like Ole Miss just picked up Dacian Ruffin, so that's pretty appealing right now.
No doubt. And there's another thing that some guys do, and we see something like Baylor where they don't typically land top guys, and then they land three top guys in the country in a couple of days. Is possibly going to a school you create a new trend with a couple other guys, something that would possibly attract you?
Yeah, for sure. Like if they would try to like start something big at one school, that could be the new thing.
If you look at your 2023 class, are there any guys that you look at that you've talked to about possibly wanting to team up with?
Not at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Who would you say would probably be your other two guys that probably be like the other two top guys you play the best with?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Just a couple out of Georgia, like Chase Clemens and a few others.
No doubt. We mentioned a little bit earlier that you obviously had a big summer last year that really brought you on the spotlight. And one of those events was playing with Mikey. What was that tournament like? And just take us through that whole tournament and event.
That tournament was pretty fun. Like we were together all the time in Vegas. Our whole team was all together, and we just had fun out there getting on the court.
And we know when you have a guy like Mikey, the cameras are typically on him, but you were able to go out there, you put on a show, and you started getting a lot more attention too. When you're in that environment, what was it like kind of building up your own brand and making a name for yourself?
It was actually it was pretty fun because like first time in a while you like have cameras all in your face everywhere you go, so you kind of gotta get used to that.
And you've been a guy that's been dunking for a long time. We'll get into one of the highlight dunks that really blew you up too in eighth grade, but when was the first time you started dunking?
Uh, first time I actually like was consistent was like seventh grade summer.
Mm-hmm. And that means in eighth grade, obviously, you had that play that everyone started reposting, and that was your alley lob dunk. When you were only in eighth grade, how were you able to pull that dunk off?
Just working out. I just got a lot stronger that year, a lot quicker, faster, working on my game altogether.
And that's not typical for guys in middle school to be dunking, and especially at the height and level you do. How did you learn to be able to use your athleticism at such a young age?
I kind of built it up over the years,
Mm-hmm.
but more than ever.
No doubt. And you are in Tennessee. It's a state that's probably one of the most under the radar states, but they have countless amount of top prospects for the past few years now. What's it like being a part of that state?
Pretty good. There's a lot of more. It can get really competitive in my state because there some guys underlooked, but they're actually really really good.
And out of all classes in your state, who's like your favorite guys to go up against?
Jalen Jones, P.J. Smith, Zaquarium Collin, goes guys like that all around the state.
And there are a lot of big time players that have come out of Tennessee now. Who's some guys that maybe you kind of look up to and kind of look to as like examples of how you want to be able to make it to the next level?
Kind of more Kennedy Chandler, even though he just transferred to Sunrise Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was big.
And with him doing that, obviously, he's a big-time player, and that's a guy that you're going to become a lot like, a top player in the country. I can already imagine some prep schools might start reaching out to you. Is that something you might consider someday down the road, going to a national schedule, going to prep school?
Yeah, I'll definitely consider it. But right now, I'm just stuck where I am. Feels like home.
Absolutely. So let's kind of go through the season again. I mean, you had 15 points a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, pretty big-time numbers for a freshman. What's the next jump for you? What are you capable of averaging next season as a sophomore?
I'd say I'll try to average a double-double at least next year. Try to make a run in state. I'm hoping to have a lot better year.
And you were able to win a regional championship this past season. What was that like?
Oh, that was the best feeling. One of the teams that we've been battling against all year, come back and beat them in the regional championship felt real good.
What would you say was your favorite game of the season?
Probably was the regional championship or the regional semis against Webb.
Mm-hmm. And to be a freshman, to go in there and be one of the leaders, if not the leader of a team, how are you able to kind of get control of the locker room and lead while only being a freshman?
Well, obviously, I had help from our only senior, so he helped me adjust. And the year before, they brought me in, helped me adjust a lot because they knew I would mature quickly.
No doubt. And I mean, it's not about you growing up. I mean, I don't think you started playing basketball to about 8 or 9 years old. You're playing baseball and football growing up. What led you to deciding to want to play basketball?
Well, I just wanted to try something different, and then over time, I just kept getting better and better at it. So basketball really became a priority for me.
At what time or age would you say kind of clicked that you realized you could be an elite basketball player?
Around 13.
Mm-hmm. Was it like a certain game that kind of clicked?
Not really. It was just that I was starting to get more exposure out on the AAU scene because that was like my first AAU season.
Gotcha. And if we had AU this past year, I believe you're going to run with Georgia Stars. Why did you choose to run with them?
Just a good team environment, and then we're supposed to be really good this year.
So what are you hearing? Do you think you guys going to get any kind of camps or games or anything in this year?
Possibly, but it'll look like a little bit later.
Absolutely. And you also were part of MSH TV camp, obviously a big-time camp. All guys heading into high school love going to that. What was that camp like?
It was actually really fun. A lot of hype around the courts, players going at each other, a lot of one-on-ones.
At that camp, who was your favorite guy to go up against?
My favorite was probably Marvell Allen.
Mm-hmm. That's big time. And out of all those guys, I know there's a lot of high characters, funny guys. Who's the funniest guy at the camp?
Funniest guy, definitely is Isaiah Jackson.
What's so funny about him? I mean, that's a typical answer by a lot of guys, but why would you say it's so funny?
Just what he does on the court and off. He's just goofy all around.
Absolutely, man. A couple more things before I let you go. One of it is I was like wrapping up talking about your legacy. By the time you walk away from the game of basketball someday, what do you want your legacy to be for what you achieve both on the court as well as off of it?
I kind of want to set a name for the city I live in, and I want to make a run. I want to win a state championship. Bring the first one to my school, and I'll possibly win Mr. Basketball.
No doubt, man. What would you say is your ultimate goal or achievement you want to have just for your overall basketball career?
I want to make it to the NBA, possibly become an NBA great.
No doubt, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on today, my guy, and I look forward to seeing what God's got next for you, man.
Thank you.
Of course, man. You're always welcome on, bro. God bless.
God bless you too.